Yesterday, I was scrolling through Facebook in the afternoon along with millions of other people, and I witnessed something on Facebook Live that I believe will stick with me forever. And it was the saddest thing that I have ever seen on live. And to date, well, as of last night, 12 hours or so after it was still up, over 500,000 people had witnessed this same thing. There is a gentleman, and I don't follow his channel, but there is a gentleman on Facebook who had a channel where he cooked with his mother, and they would do videos, nice videos. He's older. He appeared to be in his 50s. And then, of course, his elderly mother would appear in the videos. Just a very nice mother and son, Christian, lighthearted, kind, and they would, he'd set up his camera and they would make, just different things together to eat. And they just seemed to have a really loving relationship, and a channel where they would just talk and while they did their cooking thing, and it seemed to be all good. And they have a community, I believe, of over 200,000 people on Facebook alone. I haven't looked on their other channels, but I was watching this live, and the gentleman, he's cutting up some celery and he looks pale, although I don't know his baseline, what he normally looks like. But to me, as a viewer, he looked pale. And he's, his mom comes into frame. She takes a seat, and he's chopping things up. They're just kind of conversating. And I noticed that he's a little bit breathless, and not super breathless, but breathless a little bit. And, he's chopping up his stuff. And then all of a sudden, he just says he doesn't feel good, and he kind of just leans forward and collapses onto the table. And then just complete, his mom goes to run to grab a soda because apparently I think he might be diabetic. And, in her mind at that point, she must have been thinking he's having like low blood sugar. But he completely, while she's coming back with the soda, he just completely collapses and falls down, and she starts screaming the most horrific screams that I have ever heard. This is her son, her only son, and he has now collapsed onto the floor, having a very serious medical emergency, and she is just absolutely distraught. And there is nothing like hearing the pain of a mother who is hurting for their child, no matter what that reason is. And so she's panicked. She runs outside. She screams for help. You can hear all of this. You can't see her running. You can't see him on the floor anymore. But you see, you understand that he's on the floor, and she's running for help and screaming. And the time is ticking by, and the live, it's just a still, it's a still shot. There's nothing there. You're just hearing everything, and you're thinking to myself, my God, I need to call 911, but I don't know where these people live. And the comments are going, what is happening? I'm praying for you. Someone call 911, etc. And so eventually, I believe a neighbor comes in, and, they call 911, and he's trying to do chest compressions on him, and he's describing his face, and that his face is turning color. And it is just, as a viewer who I didn't know these people, it was just horrific. It was so sad, and it just broke my heart to watch this. And I was completely shocked at what was happening. And my heart was just breaking for his mother, who was so overwhelmed with grief, and I think must have at some point be realizing that perhaps her son was not going to make it. And the poor guy that was working on him, just working, and it just could not get his heart to start. And it appears to me and to other people who had witnessed this just horrific event on live, that the gentleman may have had a cardiac arrest. He did somewhat of a grunt noise, which as I understand, is associated with sudden cardiac arrest, and he just fell, and they were unable to revive him, and he passed away. And it really hurt to see that, and my heart just hurt for these people that I didn't know. And it made me think about how there's so many people that we'll never know, people who we'll never meet, names that we'll never know, stories, so many people in our own community, people across the country and the state and the world that are just going through so much right now, just so much. And I see it on here on my page with you guys. I see a lot of suffering. Parents have passed away recently on our page, on our membership, on our dear members on our page. And other people are going through serious cancer journeys and very painful chronic illness walks in their life. And if you think about it, if you just stop to think that in this one day, what have people gone through just in this one day alone? People have gotten devastating news about their health. Other people have learned that family members have passed away. Other people have been fired. Other people are going through divorce. Other people's kids are estranged from them. What's universal about people is human suffering. And I think sometimes when we're not in that suffering ourselves, it's easy to forget how much people are going through around us. And so my heart just really goes out to people that are going through so much. And I know what it's like, and you know what it's like. We all have had things that we have struggled through, and times where we likely didn't have anyone that we felt like we could call upon, or even if we did, maybe it just felt isolating and lonely, even in that support system. And I think that we would be much better as a society if we kept at the forefront of our minds this universal suffering that most of us will encounter at some point or other in our life, some much more than others. And we just have to remember that people are hurting out there. In my own life, I've seen firsthand the brutality of the battlefield that is cancer. My sister was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. I saw her struggle. I saw her fight. I saw her in so much pain and suffering, so much from chemotherapy and having a double mastectomy. I saw the heartache. I saw the struggle to remain hope, but I also saw the perseverance, and I saw the desire to live. But it's a tough, tough battle to fight. And I've seen the thief of depression, because that's what really it is, a thief. I've seen the thief of depression come in and steal joy and peace out of people's lives. It is so hard to fight depression, and so hard when the people that you love are going through depression. I've experienced it in my own life. I've experienced it with my mom, with my sister, with my son, and extended family as well. And it's a thief, and it steals so much joy and peace. I've seen people suffer through crippling anxiety and fear that really truly imprisons them. And I've seen a hopelessness among people that numbs, that just numbs. And I know that you've seen it too. Maybe in yourself, maybe in your family, maybe in your friends, maybe in all. Yourself, your family, and your friends. Often, people stumble over why things happen in this life. I know, for myself, I've asked that question many times, many times. I went through child loss. I lost a child with my husband back in 2017. And then we had a long infertility journey. And then we found out we were going to have another child 3 years ago. And then we also lost that child. And your mind just reels. It just reels. Like when you're in the deepest, darkest places of that pain. And you just sit there and you're like, oh my gosh. It almost feels like you're not even in your own life or you're in your own body, but yet you're looking down and you're like, how is this happening? How is this my life? Like, why am I going through this? And I think that's another commonality to the human experience is just this whole unanswered why question that goes along with so much trauma and so much things that we have to go through as people. And the whole why question often will take you down very dark, very unfamiliar, and very scary roads, and just lonely roads. And you'll walk down this journey and you'll feel all alone, and you'll begin to find yourself feeling angry and bitter and resentful, and just you can just feel yourself changing. And a lot of times you can't even ground yourself, or like you can't even see within yourself the person who you were before you went through this kind of trauma. And you'll likely experience frustration and despair as you try to put together the pieces of this life, and you fail because you just cannot bring these things together that you just have no answer for. And the cards that you've dealt, you can't make sense of them. And for a lot of people, these journeys will lead them to the bottom of an alcohol bottle, or they'll be led to pick up a prescription bottle, trying desperately to take away the pain that they're experiencing. For other people, they'll distance themselves from families and become completely isolated in a desperate attempt to protect themselves from further pain, or because they feel like people don't understand. Other people will lash out and become angry, and it will lead to, severed relationships with family and friends. Other people will, stop performing well at their job, and they'll suffer consequences financially. People will often turn towards self-destructive ways to try desperately to feel better. And I understand that. I do understand that. And self-destruction looks different for different people. And all the things that you can think of in a way where someone could hurt themselves or even hurt other people do, not intentionally, many times not intentionally, but they're looking for some relief from their suffering. And I understand it, but I really want to tell you that there's a better way. And that way is found with Jesus Christ. I just want to share with you my personal experience with Jesus. I know that a lot of people struggle with Christians. I know most of the time, and I'm guilty of this, as are probably most Christians in this world. Many times Christians don't behave the way that they should. They don't show the heart of God in their actions or in their words. We don't show that love of Christ that we ought to. And I want to encourage you that if you've been discouraged by the people who claim to be of God, I want you just to look into Jesus himself. Go to the foot of the cross. Pour your heart out to Jesus. He will hear you. He understands our pain like none other. He is a great physician that can heal you today. I don't know how I would have made it through anything that I've gone through in my life that was designed to break me and to destroy me spiritually and emotionally. Child abuse, domestic violence, self-hatred, anxiety, depression, my son having chronic health issues, having to undergo open heart surgery while I was a single parent, my own open heart surgery, and my struggle to survive there, 2-time pregnancy loss, so much pain. But I'm telling you with all sincerity that when I called out to God to help me, he heard me. The Bible says that he is closer than a brother, that he will never leave us and he will never forsake us. He is so compassionate and kind and loving, just the source of all love. The Bible says that there's no greater love than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends, and he laid down his life on the cross for you and for me. And if you would just humble yourself and call out to him and say, God, I need your help through this pain. I can't carry this alone. His presence will come into the atmosphere where you are, and you will feel peace, the peace that surpasses all understanding, the peace that you have never experienced outside of the presence and peace of God himself. You will experience that peace. You may be going through absolute hell. You may be feeling like you're in the middle of the ocean without a safety device, and you are drowning, and you desperately have your arm up to the sky out, while you're swallowing waters and the waves are crashing because you need to be saved. But I'm telling you that when you go out to God and you call out to God, he will hold you, take your hand, and you will walk above water, above all of the stress and sadness and difficulties and darkness of this life. And you will prevail and even find joy during those same times of suffering, because with Jesus is a fullness of joy. He is the fullness of joy. And for those of you who know God, you know what I'm talking about. You know that how you couldn't make it one day without him, because he truly loves you, and he's a source of your strength and your peace, and he is the joy in my heart amongst everything I've gone through in my life. Now, that's not to say that I still don't have scars that I need God to heal in my life, because I do. There's still things that I need to take to him, that I need to open my heart up to him, vulnerabilities, and he knows these things, but he hurts when we hurt, and he doesn't want you to be in pain. And when you bring it to him, he'll carry that. He'll carry that pain for you, and you don't have to carry it alone. And so I guess this is just an introduction to the hope that I have in my heart, and that I hope you can have in your heart, that comes from Jesus Christ alone. Paul said in the Bible, always be ready to give reason for the hope that is within you. And that hope is found in Jesus Christ. And he is the ultimate healer. He will heal you. He will make you whole. He will set you free from the captives in your life of depression, anxiety, pain, remorse, anything you're going through, loneliness, self-hatred, bitterness, isolation. He's there for you. So I just want to encourage you today that if you don't know Jesus Christ, just call out to him. It's simple, approach him with a humble heart and a contrite spirit that he doesn't despise. He'll hear you from heaven, and he'll comfort you, and with him you will find freedom from what you're going through, and relief and peace and even joy again. And that I know for sure, because it's happened to me over and over and over again in my relationship with him. I want to thank you for being with me today. I want to encourage you that if you're struggling, you're not alone. There's so many people today that are suffering. But more importantly than that, there's a God who's looking down upon you, who delights to do you good, who is there for you, who will never leave you nor forsake you. And just call out to him today. Thank you all for being here with me. I appreciate it. I'm going to be doing a series this week on different aspects of walking with God. If you're interested, please subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.